Have you ever played KO and been like, damn, I really wish I had some lineups? Probably not, but here's a video for that. So I have two types of lineups to show you guys today. The first being post-plant lineups, and the second being support lineups. Starting off with post-plant lineups for if your team plants behind this box on B. This one is for if you decide to play safe and play back and long. You're going to want to come to this corner, line up with that shingle and that chimney, and then jump and left click at the same time. This will completely throw them off the bomb, guaranteeing that they can't defuse and possibly getting a kill in the process. One problem with this lineup is that it does take 5 seconds for it to hit the ground, so you're going to have to do this preemptively before they try and defuse the spike. If you decide to play into B link, you want to line yourself up into this corner, and then line up with the bottom left corner of this square here, and then just throw. This one takes about 3 seconds to land, so you can throw as soon as you hear them tap the defuse. This next one is a little weird. You have to go to the edge of B tower, line up with the top of this little blob, or whatever you want to call it, and then line the clock up and the bottom of the rectangle together, and then throw. It'll go through this tiny little crack and land right on the spike. I like this one since you can peek tower right after and try to get a kill off of it. These next lineups are for if your team plans in default. This one is for if you're playing B long. What you want to do is line up the top of this light with the edge of that ring, and then throw. Due to Riot recently shrinking the size of his nade, it doesn't always land on top of the spike, so you're still gonna have to peek it after, but it guarantees that they're gonna be stuck in that corner basically. This next one is for if you're playing B link. You want to line up with this little crack in the ground, and then keep your crosshair close to this roof, and line up the bottom of your UI with that line. The last one for B is if your team plants behind this pillar. What you can do is you can go B main, snug up into that same corner as before, and then line up in between whatever the fuck that thing is, and jump throw. These next post-plant lineups are for if your team plants default on A. If you are playing an A main, you can snug up into this corner, line up in the middle of this gray patch, and then aim just a little bit above whatever the fuck that thing in the sky is. Throw it, and then you can peek as they try to jump off the bomb. This next one is for if you're playing in that corner in A long. You just want to peek enough so that you can see the grass there, and then run throw. It'll bounce off that wall and land on the spike. This next one is for if you're playing A link. You can snug up into this corner, aim into the corner of that roof, and then run throw. If you want to play even deeper into A link, you can snug up into this corner of the box, and then aim just a little bit over this pillar and then throw. This next one is for if you're pushed up deep into A secret. You can line up with this line next to the ramp here, and then follow this line all the way up until you meet that thing in the sky. This next one is for if you're playing deep into mid connector for some weird ass reason, I don't know why. You can line up your flashbang utility UI with that light following that wooden beam. For this one, you want to make sure that you aim closer to the right, or else it'll end up hitting that box and not going far enough. These next ones are for if your team plants in that little cubby. For this first one, you want to line up with the 4th brick onto that little line, and then aim with that brick in the wall, and then run forward and throw soon as your cursor meets that roof. Sometimes it won't go far enough to actually hit the spike, so you may have to peek it. It does leave you with an easy spot that you can pre-fire. This next one is for if you're playing deep into A-Link, you can run up to that same box as before and get in that corner, and place your crosshair just above the right side of that pillar. I've found that normally aiming a little higher works better. Yeah, this is just a weird ass one I found. It's not really that useful, but you can go for it. Next up, I have the support lineups. These are to flush people out of certain positions if you know they're going to be there. This first one is for if they're playing behind that little half wall on B main. At the start of the round, you can snug up into this corner, and then line up the line in between the rectangle there with that line, and then jump throw. This will force anybody playing in that corner to run out, and you'll most likely be able to get a kill off of it. This next one is if you're trying to take mid control and they like to peek the door a lot. At the start of the round, go up to this door and line up with that crack in the ground, and then match the top right of this rectangle with the window on the building. This next one is for if your team's trying to push A-Link and you don't want to deal with the mid connector choke. Line up with this crack in the ground, and then line up your crosshair right in between those two lines with that thingy in the sky. Still don't know what to call it. This will force anybody playing in that position to either back into mid connector or to play a more aggressive angle, exposing themselves more. This next one is for if your team is pushing A and you want to clear out dugout. You want to line up in between these wires here, try to find that dot on the wall, and then jump through. This will land in the center of dugout, forcing anybody playing in that corner to push out further. Yo, I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys, especially you KO mans out there. If you did happen to find this useful, please at least think about giving a like and a subscribe. I would appreciate it. See you.